The ever-shifting landscape of politics, where every move carries weight and every decision resonates, comes a show that captures the rhythm of the moment. Welcome to Political Pulse, your weekly dive into the heartbeat of democracy.
You cannot tell me sitapata mkate lakini mafuta imepanda. Definitely, mahali ninaenda kununua hiyo mkate pia bei imepanda.
Join Daniel and Alvin Bendeta as we navigate through the twists and turns of politics, bringing you insightful analysis and expert commentary. Prepare for in-depth conversations, fiery debates.
The Wilbury Hotel was closed. But now ask ourselves, Alvin, where will this money come from?
And a pulse on the pulse of the nation. Tune in to Political Pulse, where every beat counts. Premiering every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. on Prestige TV. Don't miss out.
It is not suitable to have 900,000 public servants from both levels of government to consume Kenya shillings 1 trillion annually, which is equivalent to 47% of the national revenue, leaving the rest of the 54 million Kenyans with 53%. With debts, scaling, and development to cater for, these are utterances from Honorable Moses Kuria, the CS for Public Service. It's on Wednesday. Again, it's on Wednesday. And this is the Political Pulse. My name is Daniel Nyambura, and I'm with my brother and my friend, the analyst himself, Alvin Bendeta.
You got it right.
I got it right. Good. We were not with you on Wednesday for so many reasons, and we'll tell you why. Of course, I know you know what happened on Tuesday of last week, and that led to us not being here on Wednesday. But in the meantime, we are live on
Prestige TV, on Facebook, on YouTube, and even on our social media handles. You could reach us out.
Prestige TV is on X.
Oh, wow.
Officially from today in the morning.
Wow. Calls for a celebration.
0722-442574 0722-442574 is our SMS line. Talk to us on Facebook, on YouTube. Ask the hard questions. We need to hear from you. We need to interact with you because it's time to learn and unlearn. It's been a Mandamano month. It's been a protest month. But we began the month of July, Alvin. And we began the month of July on a higher pace as far as the protests are concerned, but on a very low pace at the same time. And the question that I'm asking myself today is, the protests yesterday, were they about the Gen Zs?
Well, as we have been seeing everything preceding Ngash, we all stated on a very intentional note by the Gen Z revolution on we are holding peaceful demonstrations. What we needed was just a mask. What we needed was a bottle of water and just maybe a black or a white shirt depending with the theme.
And of course some money to eat from KFC.
And a power bank.
A power bank.
Maybe a V8.
An Uber.
Well, that was the intentional peaceful demonstrations that we saw from the inception of the whole Gen Z Mandamano, or rather Gen Z protest.
Yes.
But after 2 days of Mandamano or so, because they were not consecutive days, we had a break in between. Of course, we're children, we deserve rest.
I know.
You understand these things.
We need to work.
We need to work too.
Yes.
Of course.
But of course, we are working on TikTok.
to earn the gifts. Anyway, on Tuesdays and Thursdays have been our major big days for the protest. And the first week on Tuesday and on Thursday, we experienced the Mandamano thing from the Gen Z. And we can say that they were so peaceful. Well, from the media, from the police, from even the national government. I think their whole perception of the whole thing was a very peaceful protest, laying aside the fact that we still saw the police having to lobby to implore the use of tear gas on the Gen Zs. We even saw killings of, just to mention a few, may the soul rest in peace, Rex, and you know, it has been so sad, but it was first of all very intentional, peaceful demonstration, Nash. But now we come to a time, the second week, which ensues with, you know, absence of influences of the Maandamano thing, leave alone even the influences that we saw in the first week. Even just the normal, the commoners, in quotes and quotes, who presented themselves on roads, we see them missing. Not to mention the likes of Kina Eruko Mondi, the likes of Kina Shiko from TikTok, and many others who, the light skin with the light skin dread guy. You know, I cannot remember his name.
Shadi.
And it was Shadi.
Yes.
Yeah, Shadi. Just in the blues, we do not see these guys on the limelight again. Just in the blues, I scroll through my TikTok each morning to get updates, and I do not see these guys. My question is, where are they?
Where are they?
Where are they? Is it that because from the first week, with those who from Thursday, the day 2 on Thursday, the first week, we saw some trying to claim that they were somehow hidden in cells just to keep them hush on trying to mobilize what the police saw to it as, you know, vandalizing businesses, which was not the case in the first week. But as we proceed, as things keep on getting hotter and hotter in the atmosphere of the Gen Z, Maandamano, and of course, Ruto not adhering to the demands, they say, he wakes up, or rather, he goes to rest one evening and calls the Gen Z criminals.
Treasonous.
You know, it was such an unexpected, very unprecedented move by the state lead to come out after a whole day of protest by the Gen Z, who are just trying to have their demands aired out. Remember, these are people who we're even seeing in the media, their parents are trying to come out to state that these are our children who are speaking on our behalf. Not because they cannot come out, but because it was an initiative by the Gen Z themselves. We have seen how it all started. We have seen how it is all went on, and even to its culmination, who knows? We'll just see the whole Gen Z in the picture. So I really do not know what's up with the government. It only reminds me, while I was scrolling before we commenced our show, it only reminded me of the assassinations that used to happen during the years of independence. You know, I don't know whether that's the case. I don't know if that's where we're heading to. I don't know if it's also Moi's era we're heading to, where guys talk against the government and you're off.
Let's first acknowledge some Gen Zs here, and who are leading, not Maandamano, but they're leading the followership of Prestige TV. We have our very own producer, Linika. He calls himself Single Boy. But, we're not too sure if he's single, but Linika Lini, sema kaende sasa, waiting, moga kabedhi, pamoja. These are people who've been waiting for us since yesterday, actually. We have Joram Gugi Pastor, and she's waiting. Samuel Maura, watching live from Kihara. Say hi to bro Kamundia. Okay. We're talking about a whole different thing. Wambui, come out. Waiting to hear from you. Faith 10. Looking forward. Faith 10 again says, my favorite TV. Lawrence Mayor, waiting for Alama ya Dukuduku.
Wow.
Alvin,
Something hot cooking.
after the president called people criminals, and he was so mad and angry, and you could tell this man is not happy. One, as a father, as a leader, and as a government leader at the same time, and as a politician. The following day, he addresses the nation. I remember so very well, it was around 4 p.m.
Yeah.
And 1 hour later, the deputy president addresses the nation. I was left with 1,001 questions. What is normally should have been the president and the deputy president giving one press
Yeah.
statement. This time, the president is in Nairobi at the State House. The deputy president is in Mombasa at the official residence of the deputy president.
With one man, one bag.
One man, one bag.
Not to forget about
Nairobi, we have the chief hustler.
that.
Mombasa, we had the chief villager. Alvin, my question is the presidency reading from the same script?
Are you surprised?
I shouldn't, but I am. Why I'm surprised is because we are only 22 months of the Kenya Kwanza government.
For sure.
The very first term. Let's walk down the memory lane. And we won't go too far. We'll walk down the memory lane at least 15 years or 13 years from today. We go back. We heard the government of His Excellency, the former president, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, who was deputized by our now president, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Their first term was a very smooth term. Very smooth. If you remember, at one given point, when they had a case to answer at the Hague, they did a ceremonial thing. Honorable William Ruto being assigned by Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta to be, quote unquote, the head of government officially to act as the president. Alvin, if you remember that time, these guys, they were doing uniform.
Red tie.
A yellow tie, a black suit,
Black suit.
a white shirt. The following day, a light blue shirt, a red tie, a navy blue suit. A whole term. We come to the second term. And we say, kama Waswahili, kitumbua kikaanza kuingia mchanga. In the second term. Now we come to the KK government. 22 months in office. Kitumbua ni kama kishaingia mchanga. That's why I'm surprised. And the question is, are we having the president and his deputy running together come 2027?
Nganga, there are things. I am not a prophet. Definitely.
Please prophesy.
Definitely, I am not a prophet. Taking stock in of my words. With how we've been seeing things progressing, definitely, even if it is a home, you will always tend to discern or even detect whether the home is breaking. And it reaches a point when you cannot change anything, but rather see it break and wait to see whether it can rise again after it breaks. Well, that is hope that is not guaranteed. So we are in a situation where this is not just come up recently. Remember, we spoke it in the fortnight pulse that we had, where we had the 1 week fast, and boom, we come see all these scuffles between the president and the deputy president.
And I was tempted to ask if we were really fasting. Go on.
You know, whether we visited the heavens. And here comes a scuffle where we see the friends of the president who somehow should not walk to different places. Watu wabaki nyumbani. You remember that? And we see to it visits of the presidents now start following up, and how they are addressed. It's like we are not at par. The deputy president and the president are not at par.
It's a village and a hustler.
It's a village and a hustler.
I don't know if there's a difference between the two. Either way, all right?
We hustle in town.
We hustle in town.
And at a village, we give our strength
All right.
to eat for our sight.
All right.
But we have the resources with us.
Okay.
So we got to see the friends of the president with a 200 million jet to the US. And just right after it, we get to see Mombasa tour with the Kenya Airways with the mantra, one man,
One bag.
one bag. So it reaches a point where we begin questioning, of course, if you're an intellect as a Gen Z, with how they were thinking. At first, if you are focused, and I remember making it a clarion call to everyone, let us maintain the goal, let us keep the focus. These might at first have appeared as something to blind Kenyans with the finance bill, which of course had taken the first step. But now,
And even the second step. Yeah.
but now here we are, back to the Mandamano with the finance bill, and still the scuffles between the president and the deputy president still go on. So it is at all not a surprise for me to see the president and the deputy president not at par even after this. So this might somehow clear the doubt in the air that somehow it was not meant to blind us, which we still do not know, but just somehow, as the Kenyans who are dubious about it, it was meant not to blind us. But where's the future? You see, at times you sit down and you get confused. Do you have a leader? Do you have an authority? The Gen Zs, come to the Gen Zs. They do not want to elect their own leaders. I remember the president had called for negotiations. And the deputy president, while in Mombasa, while addressing the same issue, I remember he called Kenyans, you know, of course, after criminals. He called us
My sons and daughters.
my sons and daughters.
Wow.
You know, it hits different when you're called a son or a daughter. Maybe that was just meant to pull the atmosphere. Maybe, who knows?
And he actually said something today.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Who knows? It maybe a communication transpired in between, and the president saw to it. Maybe you could be the better person to address this and, you know, calm off the atmosphere while you're addressing this. And we saw Deputy Rigathi telling the Gen Zs to at least try give a listening ear to what the president has for them. Maybe this would be possible by the Gen Zs having to elect their own leaders. But here comes a generation, here comes a people who are not willing to have a leader.
Leaderless group.
I remember when the president asked for negotiations at the State House. Would you appear? Or because
I
you,
wouldn't.
okay, because you refuse, you're not a Gen Z. Let me use myself.
I'm
that
very old, actually.
Let me use myself. Will I just appear before the crowd and tell them, guys, I'm going to represent you? Which
Will
we
you?
saw.
Will you?
I willed it.
All right.
I willed it.
Okay.
We saw from the representative kind of team, ambao walisalimiwa. Actually, some of them, I had followed them like 2 weeks before they became the Gen Z leaders in quotes and quotes. Now walisalimiwa. Their accounts were literally so banned, very unfollowed. I remember one Sean, I remember one Dalmas, and it was so sad seeing all that. At the end of the day, we cannot be in anarchy, and I think that will come in my parting shot. Every authority has a subject to lead, and every subject has to submit to an authority. And no subject will run by itself. One thing I normally say, Mr. Nganga, is that as a person in my own house, I can decide what to eat, I can rule my own life. But when we get outside to the bigger picture, we still can. If at all you have my heart, if at all I think you can run your own life as I can run mine. But this now leads us, or rather this leads me to where we now see criminals and goods getting in the picture of the protest. I could have led myself. Yes, I can. And that is where the question of anarchy maybe between the week came in. Could this be an anarchy state? You know?
It could be. Maybe we're headed there.
Maybe we're headed there.
Maybe.
But how moral is it? Because if now we're at a position, we're at a juncture where the Gen Zs are still driving their protests. Yes, yet we see that by 5 in all social media platforms, they come out to say, guys, the criminal goons employed, or rather employed are now in. Let us get out, so that it may not be said that we are the one vandalizing the whatever properties. We've seen supermarkets. We've seen weeks was so bad. We saw MPs properties being destroyed. We saw Oscar Sudi's Timber XO. We saw the Nyeri supermarket. You know, it was so bad. But now we're at a position where we're asking ourselves, is this still the Gen Z? Well, one of my friends, Sam, asked me yesterday, do you think it's still the Gen Z? And my question was, Sam, we were intentional, as I started by telling you.
Yep.
Do you think we might have diverted the trajectory in which we were in? No, because we still go to the streets harmless. But get to learn that from 5 p.m., around 4:30 p.m., here is where we start seeing men armed with weapons, men with zeal to get into properties, men with zeal to destroy, men with zeal to, steal. So this shows that we have changed the trajectory.
Mentioning of guns, Alvin, today got a hold of the Standard newspaper. A very big heading, shut down. I watched in Mombasa. Let's go to Mombasa. Leave Nairobi alone. Leave Kisumu. Busia, Kakamega, Kisii, and some other places where the situation was not so good yesterday. But let's go to Mombasa. In Mombasa yesterday, we witnessed. Of course, we saw. And what we saw was our producer is asking us to go for a short break. Kindly we should obey for a minute, then we come back.
Kindly have a sip of water and do not touch the dial.
We'll be back in a few.
Next Monday tutakimbiana na nyinyi kimbi hapo na pale, itakuwa kipindi ya swara na dogi. Tunafurahia venye tunapita chochoro chua, tukitokelezea chua, ukitokelezea mpaka mimi karibu nikuwe kilema, sababu polisi wanatupeleka pele.
Mandamano, tunapenda mandamano. Hero kamano, Tiagas, bila Tiagas. So mandamano, tunapenda mandamano. Kirusha Tiagas, hero kamano.
Tunaenda kuenda. Unajua polisi wanafanya kazi mzuri, sababu demo wanatukimbiza, demo hiyo kitu inakuwa interesting. Vijana power. Nashukuru Mungu sababu jana nilikimbizwa kama paka na panya town, lakini nimerudi. Polisi tunawashukuru sababu mmekuwa mkilala miaka mingi na mmekumbuka kazi yenu. In fact chenye inanishangaza, huko juu bado bandits hata jana waliua watu. Na hapa Nairobi mnazuia Raila Amolo kuingia State House. Munatumia pesa yetu vibaya. Hiyo pesa yenye ngangana nayo kuchemusha Tiagas kutengeneza nayo hiyo maji. Hiyo maji mungepeleka huko Moyale ama mfanye nayo agriculture, ingewasaidia. Sasa kama ndio tumeanza na mumerusha Tiagas mpaka Tiagas imeisha kwa stock, munasema ati ni 2 trillion na munasema Kenya haina pesa.
Mandamano, tunapenda mandamano. Hero kamano, Tiagas, bila Tiagas. So mandamano, tunapenda mandamano. Kirusha Tiagas, hero kamano.
Mandamano bila polisi sio mandamano. Juu hata hiyo yenye tulikuwa kumkuja iko tamu. Sasa mimi nakuomba tafadhali tuletee makarao hapo. Na Tiagas zikuje mingi. Tulete Tiagas. Hizo ni pesa zetu. Tafadhali. ulifanya vizuri kuongea. Mi nataka kesho utuletee polisi.
Maandamano, maandamano, tunapenda maandamano. Ero kamano, tiagas, 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 bila tiagas. Yo maandamano, 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 tunapenda maandamano. Kirusha tiagas, ero kamano.
Sasa tunajaribu kusema kuandamana bila tiaga si maandamano.
Our viewer, wherever you're watching us from, and we really appreciate that you keeping it Prestige TV and that you working with us up to this very point. And we really want to say thank you. Thank you. Because kama sio wewe, hatungelikuwa hapa. Nasi tuko hapa, tuelimishane, tupige gumzo pamoja, tujulishane jinsi mambo yanavyoendelea hapa nchini Kenya, na pia tuweze kuulizana maswali. Tuulizane, je, ambapo tulipo tunapaswa kuwa hapo? Na tulipo tukitoka hapo tunaelekea wapi?
Tunaelekea wapi?
Na kabla twende break, kwa Kiswahili inaitwaje? Mapumziko.
Mapumziko.
Great. Director wetu, tafadhali naomba utusaidie kwa Kiswahili. Kabla tuende kwa mapumziko mafupi, tulikuwa tumesema kwanza tunaelekea Mombasa. Maana jana mambo yalichemka Mombasa. And this one I'm doing in Kiswahili, by the way.
Wow.
I'm doing it in Kiswahili. It's about Mombasa.
Haya basi. Twende nalo.
Mambo yalichemka Mombasa. Na mambo yalikuwa ni namna hii. Wow. Mambo yalikuwa namna hii. La kwanza, wacha niseme ni wahalifu. Kwa sababu sio wana Gen Z. Right? Na jinsi mambo yalivyokuwa, kulikuwa na uporaji wa mali. Kulikuwa, hey, people are being injured.
Tuchukue mapumziko tena. Twende nalo, twende nalo.
Na hayo yote yalifanyika askari wakiwa wanayaangalia, wanayatazama. Hawakufanya lolote. Mombasa hali haikuwa hali jana. Kwa beach. Kwa beach. Watalii walikuwa wakivamiwa. Jamaa mmoja anasema alivamiwa akiwa kwenye bus stop pale kwa stage.
Stani.
Akiwa amesimama
Kwenye stani.
akingoja kuabiri gari.
Linaitwa stani.
Stani.
Usinichezee.
Oh, praise the Lord.
Usinichezee.
Alikuwa akingoja kuabiri gari. And the guy was attacked. Right? Kiswahili changu kimefika mwisho.
Hapo ndio syllabus imefika.
Mwalimu, by then nilifukuzwa whole term of Kiswahili. Mrs. Gashoki, bwana asifiwe. I still love you, mwalimu.
Asante.
And so, the state of Mombasa yesterday, it wasn't good. And all these evils happened under the watch of our police officers. Our men in uniform, and they did nothing, and absolutely nothing. We're just watching. The intel says, these people are being funded. These people, they were ferried to Mombasa. And these people, a politician or another political analyst was seen chatting with the goons. And he was directing them on what to do and who to attack. A businessman shot one person trying to defend his property. Not just a property, a hotel.
Was he the one who shot two?
There were two.
There were two.
Right. And after he shot, these goons lit 4 cars that were parked right outside the premise. Alvin, the last 2 weeks, the demos were peaceful. Very, very peaceful.
Sure.
As you said it, It was dressed in black and white, carry a Kenyan flag, no stones. It was from Stone Age to Phone Age.
You know?
Right? It was very peaceful. But last week and this week, what are we seeing? Parliament, okay, was banned. Part of the office of the Chief Justice, same thing. And so these things leads me to ask this question. Is it really a Gen Z thing? Or are these goons being funded by people to paint a picture that the Gen Zs are not doing actually what they're telling us they're doing?
So will you say that either it could be the government that might have employed some people to catalyze the whole thing so that it might be against the Gen Z's protest?
We have seen that in the past, Alvin.
Or the same time could be Azimio. Oh, sorry to mention.
Oh, boss.
Since it's the opposition party. It could be the opposition that is trying to still act as the catalyst so that they show guys you need to add extra energy.
But Makio, ODM, through the section, the Senator of Nairobi, Honorable Sifuna,
Edwin Sifuna,
they issued a statement that they're in support of the demands of the Gen Zs. They're in support of that. They're in support of the protest that are being led by the Gen Zs. Fine. We don't want to say that the ODM and the whole opposition team is part and parcel of this.
Of course, we saw from even the voting itself. Last week we saw, it was actually this week when we saw, is it still Sifuna trying to come and look for those MPs who voted yes for the finance bill.
And in particular, there are 6 that are being targeted.
The 6 of them.
Yeah.
The 6 of them. So this will tell you that still in the same way we will say there is the government of the day and we have to have an opposition of the day. We are not unified from the leadership position itself. Do not even drill down to the citizen. The leadership itself has a problem. And the problem of disunity, the problem of not being united, not being unified in the leadership position itself might have spurred all these up. Because if at all we have either of the two that should come out to speak during the day, you see, this would ultimately tell us that this is what this side as a whole, as a unified, as a team, you know, will come and tell us this. And the government of the day will also come out and tell us this. But if at all we have this crack in the wall still in the same leadership, in the same party, this shows that it is not just down here that you have a problem. Remember, all these things will always trail from the top. As a father in the home, as the head in the home, the moment you have a kasoro, be definitely sure, even the last part, it will reach out to the last part.
Another question we should ask ourselves, Alvin, is the president receiving enough information to help him lead the country? One from the NIS, from the DCI's office, and from all the security agencies. Because in Mombasa, the DP said, and he pointed fingers actually to the NIS, and he pointed on the DG, Nurdin Haji. And actually, he was confident enough to say, Haji should resign. The following day, Nurdin Haji issued a statement reiterating on whatever the DP said. And he rubbished everything. To a point he said, it's as if the DP want the NIS to be reporting direct to him. And he said, the NIS doesn't have a deputy CIC they report to. The CIC's one was the president. So,
Mr. Nganga, you cannot tell me, hawezi niambia, that amidst all this, kati ya haya yote, yani wewe kama mwenye nyumba, hautajua kitu fulani inaendelea huko chini. Lazima vitu zinapoendelea kufanywa. Okay, I think that is where my piece reached.
All right, sawa.
I think as things go on, somehow, somewhat, you have a way to detect that something is not right in this house. Remember the first day of the protest? Don't recall so well, was it the first or the second day? Remember where our president was? The president
Naivasha.
in Naivasha with the AU.
When the country was burning, actually.
That was the point when things were even getting hotter in the country.
But wasn't he given enough intel? I was talking with someone in the morning and I was saying this. Alvin, the Ruto we know today, the Ruto we see today, is not the same Ruto we knew when he was the deputy president. I think that time, when he was the DP, he was more informed than he is today. Maybe the people who were giving him the intel, they were doing a perfect job. And maybe the people he hired later when he became the president, they're working so hard to sabotage his work.
Just maybe a thought just coming through.
Yeah.
You remember what you've spoken on earlier when you talked of the scuffle still between our incumbent government, our former President Uhuru Kenyatta and Ruto. Just maybe the close advisors at that time while, of course, the handshake thing was going on. So Ruto was on the other side. Somehow he was, in quotes and quotes, an opposition that is
Within
not
the
in
government.
opposition. You see, just maybe the opposition will always have means to come against the government. Not really against the government, but of course we say a watchdog. So you'll have to give a very close look to know that this ain't right. But in the government itself, with nothing against the Azimio leader, get to see it after the handshake. We got to see and find calming down of events that citizens would have expected opposition should have a reason to air them out the government. But supposedly because we had no opposition at that time, somehow things, or rather whatever citizens asked for, they were not directed to the government as it was supposed to be. This could be the case right now. This definitely could be the case right now.
Yep. Alvin, as of today, at least 39, at least 39 people have died. And let's say young people. From the day the protests began up to today.
Are they dead?
Dead.
They're dead.
Okay. I don't know they're alive. Okay? I don't have that information, but at least 39. Okay? And I don't want to get into whatever we saw on the round table on Sunday. We debate 1924.
Sure.
2 bullets, 8 bullets. Doesn't concern us so much on that. But we ask ourselves.
Well, looking ahead, sorry to cut you short.
Yes, sir.
I think we'll have to maybe, just maybe, have an expert on elections, because it is time we have to consider whatever is ahead of us. What is our next phase on matters IEBC?
I think if we were to have a by-election today, we don't have an IEBC. But it will interest you. IEBC today is conducting the elections for tea farmers. All right? But we don't have an IEBC. We don't have.
We don't have an IEBC.
We don't have. It has been debated over and over and over again. I think as of now we should be having a chairman of IEBC.
Most definitely.
After Chebukati left office. Actually, Chebukati and his team, they left the same day. We don't have a chair. We have no one in the IEBC. So, who is conducting what in the IEBC?
22 months, you say?
22 months. Right? Now, Alvin, back to this. Are we going back to the dark days? As you mentioned, as you asked. And I'll ask this question for this one reason. And there's something you said earlier when we were beginning the show tonight. You talk about or against the government that had abducted. We saw it on Sunday, live. A former member of parliament with his family leaving church, and he was one person that I'm following so much says he was actually not arrested. He was abducted.
He was arrested.
Arrested. Okay. Quote unquote, arrested. Okay? The people, please allow me to use the word abduction, or even I stretch it further and say kidnapping. They are police officers. But they are doing things when they are not in uniform. There's a cassette group of police officers, both from the DCI and all round, who are doing things. And my thoughts on this is, today again on the Daily Nation, there was something like 6 on police radar. They are being investigated. And there are people who are in their maandamano, we know not where they are up to now, but they were arrested. Perhaps they are cornered somewhere. They are being wanasalimiwa.
As it is the vocabulary.
Watuambie who is funding the maandamano. From this, I hear the 6. There's a member of parliament. There's a political analyst. The member of parliament one is from the Rift Valley. One is from Nairobi. There's a businessman. Then there are NGOs. And interestingly, it said that one NGO is not a Kenyan-based NGO.
An international one.
An international one. But even in this, they are not able to get sufficient information to tell us it's true. These demos, these protests are being funded by these people that we are suspecting they are. Now this leads me to asking again, are we going back to the dark days?
Just as you mentioned what we saw on Sunday, I happen to have seen the footage, and it is very unconstitutional, let me say, as you will see how the police or whoever they are, the man handled whoever was being arrested. You know, how do you come to me, Mr. Nganga, with nothing against Kenyan police? You got me out of my car, you show me no proof, no card, no anything that you are a police to arrest me.
Can I cut you short? And I remind you something the president said on Sunday during the round table. This is what he said. If you are summoned by the police, first time, second time, and third time, they don't appear. They have no other option than to use force. We've not seen anywhere the former MP, Honorable Charles, was summoned. I've been trying to go through things. I've not seen that.
No.
Maybe I will later, but I've not seen that. So, maybe not.
It was very improper. Having to carry him, no proof, nothing, literally, that was nothing. That was poor manhandling.
The wife was in the car and the children were in the car. And if you could listen carefully on that video, you could hear some screams. You could tell, this is the wife. These are kids screaming. Right? This is a man who deserves respect. With your family, man.
True.
You're being mishandled with your children. Fine. I wasn't there. Because I'll say there are CCTVs that are showing us the image, and I'll be asked, why are you there?
Well, we don't know what to say, but it is bad.
Let's hope we are not going back.
Call a spade, Nganga.
Yes.
I happen to have seen the policeman. I don't know whether he is, but all this time I saw him in the police vehicle with his blue shirt. And this guy would shoot at guys so without any manner of...
shamelessly and carelessly.
You know, without no remorse. It was just so bad. Having to travel with... I would have no problem if at all. Maybe they would have still opted to use a personal vehicle. But this is a police car we see them in.
GK.
And you hear the president on Sunday saying that instead we steal the guns. It is so bad. It is not. It is unheard of.
I know.
It is very unseen.
Interestingly, most of the international meetings that were scheduled to happen in Kenya, they're being called off. For example, the UNICEF, it's been called off because of whatever is happening now. Schools, we aren't sure, especially our children in boarding schools, of their safety.
That's true.
Businesses, we are losing it, right? And so I'm not sure what to expect, or what we're expecting, or what will happen in future, as far as this is concerned. We have 10 minutes, Alvin. Before our 10 minutes, I have two things to ask, two things to mention. Then you'll ask yours, then you'll say yours, then we'll go home.
Right.
And I don't know whatever you want to say, if you'll need a chopper to ferry you home.
Well, I don't. My friends, I'm still thinking of my friends.
Our political class, the MCs, the MPs, the senators, the governors, the CSs, the DP, and the presidents are being, or rather they are to be given a salary increment this month. For the MPs, the SRC have allocated 14,000 Kenyan shillings to them. And a good number of them are saying no. I saw Honorable Felix Elias Jalas asking, or rather issuing a statement, some things looks like a setup. Let me read that thing for you.
Right.
It will be interesting to read.
From the horse's mouth.
The several things I have, these people have said. We have Mwingi West MP, Charles Nguna, rejects 14,000 salary increment, says the money can be used to pay national debts. That's good news. Honorable Felix Elias Jalas saying, there are things that almost look like a setup. We are in a crisis, and SRC are proposing an increment of 14K. Yani, mnataka tupigwe, tukufe, ndio mfurahi. Mimi staki. Jalas amekataa. As I talk about the matter of SRC, is recommending a pay rise for registrators. I want to turn that down. Wow. The money the SRC wants to add should go into putting money for employing JSS teachers and equipping health facilities. That is Senator Esther Okenyuri.
Quite a notable.
One more. This is an official letter, actually. Official, stamped and signed. Honorable Caleb Amisi, MP Saboti constituency. And he addresses the clerk of the National Assembly, Parliament building, blah blah, is story zote na peana. The heading of the letter reads as follows. Refusal of salary increment and proposal for bursary program allocation.
Wow.
I don't need to read everything, Alvin.
Wow.
But if you can read this whole thing, you can tell who is with the Kenyan people.
Now,
I don't want to term that as hypocrisy, because they're in parliament. I don't want to term that, but this whole list is from the opposition, of course. You want to say something before I finish?
just to cut you short.
Please
about,
do.
Very shortly. Here is the SRC chairperson, of course, Madam Lynn Mengich, who says that SRC has been conscious of the need to ensure prudent fiscal sustainability of the public wage bill and has consistently taken measures towards ensuring that public service operates within the prescribed affordability limits.
Affordability
In
limits.
capital letters.
There are just 900,000 of them. Right? And those are the people Honorable Moses Kuria is saying is uncalled for. And if you didn't know, Kenyan politicians are among the highest paid politicians in the world.
In the world.
But our doctors are among the poorly paid public servants. Our teachers, our lecturers are poorly paid. That's why you'll find you go to a hospital, for example, Kiambu Hospital, and let's say you need a certain specialist, let's say, for example, a dentist. You're told the dentist can only be available on Friday at 9 in the morning. All right? It's between 9 and 11. Later, you hear that person in a day, he or she is in not less than 5 hospitals, trying to make ends meet. People who've paid the price, they've gone to school, they've worked so hard.
6 years ain't a joke.
6 years.
Ain't a joke without paper.
You know, our teachers spending more time making sure our children get the very best. Yet, a JSC teacher is being given 17,000 Kenyan shillings. Interestingly, these JSC teachers are not assured if they are going to be employed on a permanent and pensionable basis. But our MPs, did you know, if nothing changed, annually they have a Kenya shillings 10 million medical insurance? How is your NHIF card? Who insures you? I'm insured by God, by the way. Number 2.
A story for another day.
Number 2, before I call it off on my side, Kenyans have to dig deeper in their pockets. A fortnight ago, if you remember me asking these questions, the government said they are taking off, or they are abolishing that kapat. Let me call it that kapat. The sanitary pads, the mobile phones, the diapers, and so on. The tax was taken off. But I have some good news and bad news at the same time. All right? The EIEC, the entire East African community, have confirmed that we're going to dig deeper into the pocket because tax on diapers must be imposed, cooking oil, TV sets, mobile phones, and so on, because it was an initiative of Kenya, and nothing can be changed. The EAC confirmed that. My last question, then I leave it to you. Where are our members of parliament? Since Wednesday, we never saw them in church on Sunday. We are not hearing them. And those we can follow from social media, they have locked the comment sections. Where are they?
Will you be still at your house?
For what? I love my life. Run for life.
That's the answer. Well, I think to that point, you have summed it up all. But mine is to maintain and insist on a collective agreement as a people. Keep focus. Let us not stray away from where we are headed. Keep focus. Maintain the goal. And that is when we shall succeed to what we are aiming at. My name is Alvin Bendeta.
If you can't see clearly, adjust your focus. Good people, just a reminder, hope deferred makes the heart sick. So says the word of God. My name is Daniel Nganga Nyambura. See you in a few with Pastor Josiah Muiruri reminding us of not breaking the covenants. I don't want to say that some people in government have broken the covenant they made during the political or the campaign time. 0722-42574, 0722-42574 is the SMS and call-in number, and you can always get us on Facebook at Prestige TV, YouTube Prestige TV, X Prestige TV, and TikTok Prestige TV. Thank you for keeping it political path. See you on Wednesday. God bless you. Thank you.
To fortify the national response.
In the ever-shifting landscape of politics, where every move carries weight and every decision resonates, comes a show that captures the rhythm of the moment. Welcome to Political Pulse, your weekly dive into the heartbeat of democracy.
You cannot tell me sitapata mkate lakini mafuta imepanda. Definitely, mahali ninaenda kununua hiyo mkate pia bei imepanda.
Join Daniel and Alvin Bendeta as we navigate through the twists and turns of politics, bringing you insightful analysis and expert commentary.
Prepare for in-depth conversations, fiery debates,
The Wilbury Hotel was closed. But now ask ourselves, Alvin, where will this money come from?
and a pulse on the pulse of the nation. Tune in to Political Pulse, where every beat counts.